Hello friends, for today's video I'm going to be doing the end of the year tag, and I'm tweaking it slightly because typically it's the end of the year book tag, but I'm shifting it to just being the end of the year tag where in place of books I can talk about manga, video games, comics, TV shows, those sorts of things, as that is primarily what I talk about here on this channel. If you are interested in seeing my answers to these questions that are more book oriented, then I'll have my main channel linked. And then also my friend Roger is going to be hosting a collaborative discussion video with these questions as the focus. And if you like more podcast style types of videos, the long format, World Hoppers is always linked in the description bar. And also all of the AdSense revenue and the merch sales profits go toward charity. So definitely check out World Hoppers if you have not. But jumping into the questions for today, the first one is there anything that you have started this year that you really want to prioritize and you really want to try to finish before the end of the year? And it was funny because this on my main channel, I think it's a lot harder with books because if you put a book down, maybe you need to come back to it, but that's kind of just a DNF. So I feel like the question when it's related to books is, did you DNF anything that you kind of need to pick back up again? But it's so much easier of a question to answer here because, you know, in this case, you have these really long manga series, you have video games, those sorts of things that are very easy to start and then not totally complete. And I am so guilty. I don't know if anyone else is like this. I did a video at the beginning of the year talking about weird things that gamers do, and I'm so guilty of this. I have a tendency to get to the last phase, I'll call it, of a video game, right? When you're going to be grinding to get to level up and defeat the big bad, or you can tell the story is going to be wrapping up, and I'm not ready to say goodbye, and so I just stop playing. I've done it to so many games where I get to the end, I'm like, I don't want it to be over though, and then I just stop, or I get busy. That's another element to this, but I have loved Final Fantasy 16 this year, and I did that very thing, and I do really want to finish it. I also want to do all the side quests because they're pretty easy. I want to do all the side quests, the monster hunts, and those sorts of things before I finish the game up, but there's a part of me that also just really wants to know what happens, and then there's another part of me that's like, what if it's sad, though? I love these characters so much, and I don't want to finish it. Anyway, so that this isn't just totally focused on Final Fantasy, because I'm sure some of you are like, you talk about it too much. The other game that I started that was we could easily just sit down. When I say we, I mean myself and my husband. We can easily sit down and finish this. It's a lovely game, and it's very almost ethereal, and that would be Grease, I believe is how it's pronounced. It's spelled Gris. And we played it one afternoon, and we were both like, wow, it's so beautiful. The music, the colors, the feeling. And it's not like it takes a long time. We just haven't finished it up, and I would love to just sit down and do that on a cozy evening sometime. So I definitely want to finish that one. As far as some manga goes, I have caught up with Yona of the Dawn, but there will be, I believe, another volume out before the end of the year, so I'll probably try to read that. Girl from the Other Side, same thing. The next deluxe edition should be, I think it's out now, and it should be arriving soon. And then Witch Hat, the next volume of Witch Hat. One of my most anticipated releases of the whole year. Witch Hat is phenomenal. Highly, highly, highly recommend. It might take some time before you're immersed in the story and the weight of the themes, but the art alone will pull you in. It's gorgeous art. And then Spy Family Volume 10. I'm very excited about that. I don't think I will catch up with Golden Kamuy by the end of the year. Those tend to take me a lot longer to read than some of the other ones, just because the subjects are, you really feel like you're learning at the same time. If you've read Golden Kamuy, you know. It's historical fiction, not fantasy. And there's so much with the culture and with nature, and it's fascinating. And so sometimes I just sit and I'm like, what? That's so cool. And I really want to take it all in. And it's not just a story. There's just so much more to it to take in, like I said. The next question says, do you have an autumnal story, rather than just book, to transition into the end of the year? I wouldn't say I have a specific one necessarily. I do have this almost nostalgia built into playing video games around the holidays, and not necessarily because I just have so much more time, because actually my husband works for a grocery store and he is not allowed to request time off around the holidays, and he often has to work things like Thanksgiving Day and whatnot. And then I'm usually trying to get a lot done before the end of the year. So it's not a time thing. And I'm sure a lot of you also experience where, because you have so many family get-togethers or events to go to, that you really feel actually pressed on time. But video games, despite that, they're like my ultimate guilty pleasure. I love sitting down to play a game, and I love to just sit and play them for hours. Even though I don't necessarily have the time, my husband and I, pretty much since we got married, we almost always get each other video games, or it's like a gift to ourselves. We'll buy a video game around Christmas, and then we like open it up and play it. And so I just have this warm, like happy, content feeling when it comes to playing video games around this time of year, around the holidays. I don't know if anybody else has that same or similar experience. I wonder if it pulls me back to something about childhood, of like getting your presents when you're a kid. And so now I had that same sort of feeling established as an adult. I'm not really sure what it is, but I just love video games. So it's not quite transitioned into fall. It's actually more so the beginning of winter. It also helps that it's really nice outside this time of year in Arizona. So that's another thing, is there's just something about like joy all around, basically. The weather's nice, it's presents, and video games are a part of that. The next question says, is there a new release you're still waiting for? I mentioned in the things that I want to stay caught up on, I think the biggest one, though, is Witch Hat Volume 11. I love Witch Hat. I think it's phenomenal. I think it's extremely underhyped. I think the people that pick it up sing its praises. I just don't think there are nearly as many people picking it up as a lot of other manga out there, but I've read, I'm not somebody who's an expert and knows a ton about manga, but of the ones I've read this year and have read in the past, maybe Vagabond is one of the only ones that competes when it comes to just the beauty of the art. They're totally different art styles, but man, I can just get lost in that. But also the story is lovely, and there's just such a sense of whimsy in the way that the fantasy elements are utilized in a way that I don't feel you see as much as I actually would like for a visual medium. I think a lot of stories that are more fantasy oriented in manga, they don't necessarily take advantage of that element. And this one, it's just like you can get lost in the beauty of it all and how creative this person is when it comes to depicting the scenery and the creatures, and like the little brush buddies are so cute. It's just wonderful all around. So Witch Hat Volume 11 plus Volume 10 ended with just something so heartbreaking. I almost don't want to know what's going to happen next. I just want everything to work out for everybody. The next question, what are 3 books you want to read before the end of the year? Of course, shifting this to the type of stories talking about here. I really would like to start Monstrous. I have been kind of putting this one off until this time of year because I thought it would be really fitting. I started it years ago and then didn't continue. And it is one of those stories that I think you kind of have to stick with it because it's disorienting when you're first starting and there's a lot thrown at you. So I can't just pick up where I left off. I would need to restart because I couldn't tell you at all what that's about. So I would say that one is up there. Vinland Saga, I would like to restart Vinland Saga and read all the way through. And then just in general, it's not a specific one, but just comics. Comics have definitely taken a back seat to manga this year for me, and I really want to pick up more. So I don't know that there's a specific one necessarily. I guess Monstrous, obviously, but other comics, I mean. There's not necessarily a specific one. I just want to try to get around to a few more of the ones from my list. After that, we have, is there a book you think could still shock you and become your favorite of the year? And I actually think I'm going to check out the anime of Attack on Titan. I've heard that the anime maybe does that story a little bit more justice than the manga itself because it is so action-oriented, and the visual medium as an anime works better to show the motion and things like that. Attack on Titan is one where I could see just maybe being middle of the road on, or absolutely loving and falling in love with it. And I hope it's that, but I just don't know. I think that style of story can be very hit or miss for me. Obviously something like Full Metal, while it's not the same story, of course, it's still sort of more shonen. And I love Full Metal, but then there's a lot of other shonen that don't really hit for me the same way as Full Metal. So Attack on Titan, it would be a big surprise, but it would be one that I would be very pleasantly surprised if it ended up being something I absolutely love. The last question is, have you made any reading plans for 2024? And for me, I said a similar thing for my main channel's version of this, that I just want to allow myself more time if I start a series and I really like it to just keep going with it and not feel tied down to any TBRs or anything like that. I want, I guess, to allow myself more room to mood read and less to have any sense of obligation reading. Not that I feel obligated as in I don't like what I'm picking up and I have to because I said I would or anything like that, but more that I still want to read these other things, and because I've planned on it, I don't really leave myself room time-wise, or even just if I start a new series to continue with that series, I don't really give myself that room. So I'd like to do the opposite next year. And then also I have a weird habit of, because I like to take things in all at once, I really don't like to have to stop when it comes to TV shows, video games. I don't like to just play it for 20 minutes or play it for like a half hour. If I'm going to play, I'm like, I want to play this for hours. That's what I'm doing today. I do that for both shows and video games. And I want to maybe be a little bit better about that, because what happens is I just wait until I have enough time to pretty much sit and watch a whole season of something, or sit and play, 6 hours of a game all at once. And I don't often have that much time open. And so it just results in me never getting around to certain things that I really want to get around to. And I just kind of need to stop doing that because it's pointless and dumb. So if I can maybe try to shift that habit a little bit, I would like that very much, so I can actually get through some of the shows that I really want to watch and get through some of the games that I really want to play. But anyway, that's it for this end of the year tag. Definitely let me know your answers to these questions, and if you're interested in seeing this style video again, but for books, I will have my main channel linked, and then coming up over on World Hoppers, it will be a mix of other people, so if you're interested in that, I'll have World Hoppers linked as well. But anyway, thanks so much for watching. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll see you later. Bye.